Now, welcome everybody to the Building Sector Management Online Lecture number 5. What we're going to do tonight is just quickly chat about the presentation that you have to do for assessment number 3. I'm going to give you a few tips on what to do for your presentation and also the written report. Nice and short. I don't want you guys to spend days and months on this one. We've already done a lot, and the most important thing, of course, is going to be the presentation. All right, so I see another Josh has joined us, and we'll just wait for him. Hi, Josh, how's it going? All right, so let's just check. All right, so there we go. We're online, and what we're going to do is we're just going to quickly have a check. And it's Josh Walker, I take it. That's you've just joined us. Sorry, Josh, I can't see your surname, so I just quickly had to check because, as you know, all of my colleagues, every now and again they play jokes on me, so they'll join my online sessions and ask silly questions and refer me to porn sites and stuff like that. So I just had to check quickly. So there we go. All right. The assignment feedback, number 1, we've completed. You've got the results for that one. And number 2, I've started marking that. It's looking good, and I should be able to get you the results by latest Friday. So you can expect the results either before Friday afternoon. Remember, I don't like working on Friday afternoon, so I'll most probably push and see if we can get it out of the way by earliest Friday morning. 4.1, we've already completed that. You've got the results for that. And those of you guys who are working on assessment number 4.2, all of those topics are now available for you to finish. There's nothing that stops you from completing them all in one go. Remember, try and keep it nice, short, punchy. 200 words is more than enough. I just want to see what your opinion is, and if I write it, I don't necessarily always give feedback on it. If you have something really weird or funny in there, I'll type something back to you. And of course, you're most welcome to refer or respond to your other students in the class. So if you see somebody else has completely gone off the track, nothing stops you in saying, I don't agree with that opinion. So that's what we're trying to do with these online collaboration sessions. All right, so let's quickly have a look at assignment number 3, which is due shortly. It's due on the 23rd of January, so it's just around the corner, basically. And after the 23rd of January, it's going to be really busy because we quickly have to get all the presentations lined up. So in the next 2 days, I will put forward a Google document for all of you guys to fill out and put in your slots that you want to take part. And we'll most probably have to do it over 1 or 2 or 3 nights, running sessions of, let's say, 12 minutes each. So I'll go and work out exactly when and how we're going to do it, and I'll publish that information for you on the next couple of days. All right, so for number 3, you have to choose one option. There's in the write-up for this assignment, there's 2 options, A and B. Nobody's notified me of an own topic. It's not too late. If you still have something that you want to discuss and you don't like mine, you're most welcome to use your own. But time is running out. You sort of have to get going on this one. Globalization of economics. This is all over the world, looking at it from an Australian perspective. How's the rest of the world influencing our stuff that we do? Partnering and alliances along the contracting lines, how is it influencing the different industries that we operate in? And remember, you've got carte blanche on this, so if you want to go completely crazy or completely different way, you're most welcome to do that, as long as you keep it within those wide parameters. All right? So if you want to step outside of the construction industry or the built environment into something like IT or logistics or manufacturing is really an interesting one at the moment. yeah, be my guest and make it nice and interesting. What I don't want to see is 22 of exactly the same reports and 22 of exactly the same presentations. So if you think that you have a good go at something in information technology, for instance, that would be a good, interesting presentation. The same with the last one there. I put that in there, and I've been running this one for the last year. This is the second time that I've got this one in there, foreign ownership of resources in Australia. It's an interesting one because more and more of the mines that we have in Australia is being owned by, you know, outsiders, foreigners, even farmland, all of those things. It's slowly being diluted away. So how will that influence where Australia is going? And of course, something interesting there is always talking about NIMBY. So you all know about NIMBY, not in my backyard. So if you talk about that one, have a look and see if you can include that as well. All right, so there's the first few tips for that one. So nice and simple. All that's required for this one is you have to submit 2 files. These 2 files are due on the 23rd. The one is a written report and the other one is just a presentation. So you have to submit them basically at the same time so I can have a quick look at it and make sure that I'm happy with that before we do the presentations. So if we look at the written reports first, right, so strictly a 10-page limit. Remember, I have to read all of this, so nice, keep it to the limit if you can. So page 1 would be a title page. Page 2 to 10 would be the executive summary, the abstract. Now, remember, you're going to write the report, and you can choose which type of format you're going to use for this one. So you can either choose a format report or you can choose an article report. All right, so if you choose an article report, which would be quite funky in my opinion, make sure that you don't have stuff like a table of contents, because you don't have that in an article. Keep the formatting accordingly. You know, instead of executive summary, you'll have an abstract or introduction, and then of course moving on to your findings, making sure that you've got evidence of your facts that you're stating, the conclusions that you've made, why you've made them, and of course any recommendations that you can make on this. So this follows the same route as any article that you guys have seen, have read in the past. So typically there will be a problem. I've given you 3 different problems to discuss there. You will find information on that, and then of course you'll make some conclusions. All right, so make sure that your conclusions are neatly formatted, nicely founded in some evidence, and you can obviously at least, I would say, for a report of this size, don't have less than, say, 10 different references. Don't use the same reference more than once. Always make sure that you use different references for this. Recommendations. Typically, a good example of recommendations would be something along the lines of further research is required because of the Chinese invading Australia, or something like that, and what you feel should be done about that. All right, and then of course on the last page your references. And remember, if you have any diagrams, I like colorful diagrams. I like stuff that I can, always pictures and stuff. You know, we like pictures, and just for the pictures, I'll add a little smiley face over there. So make sure that you've got your diagrams and everything in there, but still within our 10-page limits. All right, so make sure that it's 10 pages. Now the question is going to come up, is it 10 pages double-sided or is it 10 pages single-sided? Well, let's just call it 10 pages double-sided would go, so don't exceed in total 20 single pages. All right, but if you come in at about 10 pages, that's the limit that I want to see. All right, any questions so far? If you guys want to give me a little tick mark if you have any questions. All right, so just give me an X to show no. All right, so Wayne, you don't have any questions. My laptop also doesn't have any questions, and the other Josh Walker, you also don't have any questions. So great, thanks for that. All right, so let's move on to the presentation. The presentation, easy as well. Don't overdo it. And this one is important, 10 slides. All right, so just keep it to 10 slides. So the first slide is just going to be an introduction, your name and the topic that you've chosen. Make sure that the font is no less than 28. So that's the size of the font of the 28 at the moment. So there you can see that's about the size of the font that we want to have. This slide is already a little bit busy. All right, so if you look at this one, there's already a lot of information on there. So maybe when you do your presentation, see if you can limit it to say 6 to 8 different items on a single slide. Otherwise, it just gets too busy. All right, so make sure it's nice and clean. If you're going to go for a nice background, make sure that you use the right colors on the right background. So if you use bright yellow on black, maybe it's not a good idea. Maybe metallic blue on black also doesn't work so nicely. So make sure that you use something that everybody can see on the day of the presentation. A good idea would be to go into the tea room for this course, and remember the tea room is always open, and play around with that. Get your friends to log in. What you can do is you can invite anybody, basically. It doesn't need to be a student from the university, it can be anybody. Just go to Tools and In-Session Invite, send them the link, and of course they'll be able to log in and see your presentation. All right, and that's a nice way of playing around with the system. Important, make sure that your presentation flows. All right, so it follows on the different sections that you've identified. So if you have a problem statement, this is what you found. These are the recommendations that you can make, and so on. And the presentation, of course, has to follow your written report, so always make sure that you have those two sort of linked up. Typically, the fellow students won't see if it doesn't line up with the report, but I will, because you've submitted both of those to me, and I will be able to follow up on that. So make sure that it's nice and easy. Basically, for this presentation, it's really an easy one. Once you have the topic down, once you have information down that you've got, there's no real reason for you not to have great success in this assessment. All right, so you will see if you read the write-up for this assessment items, there's I think it's about 15 or so marks that's available for class participation. So if you're sitting on 45, the 15 will push you across really nicely. Or if you're sitting on 80 and you want to go for 85, 90, really a good performer, likewise, it will push you into that higher results, that field that you want to be in. So what I'll do is I'll typically ask for 1 or 2 volunteers after a presentation, and each of you guys will have to present at least or participate at least once. All right? So if there are no volunteers, I get to choose somebody, right? And it's quite random. I'll have a little bit of a class list next to me, and I'll be asking questions, and you guys will have to respond, and based on that, your 15 marks will either go up or down. All right, and then of course, the last thing that we'll have to do is I'll ask you guys to provide some feedback on the presentation that was just presented, and these are the 5 questions that you will have to answer. So the presentation was clear and easy to follow, just on logic. Trustworthy evidence. After viewing the presentation, did you believe what the author said? Did it make sense? Was it wishy-washy? And of course, you'll get a choice of giving results either out of 5 or out of 10. Anthony has asked a question, do we have to do this for every person who presents? All right, so Anthony, if I look at it at the moment, we have, let's just see, I just want to see how many students we've got in the class at the moment. There's 22 students in the class, so if you do 10 of those, I'm quite happy with that. All right, so if everybody does 10, that should do just fine. Okay. Does that answer your question, Anthony? Just a yes or no. If you can respond to that just by giving us a tick. And yeah, that's basically all that we that we have to do for that one. All right, so Anthony, you're fine. Okay, great stuff. Thanks for that. All right, so there's all the tips and procedures that we want to have in place for our presentations. Do you guys have any questions at this point in time?
I think I'm good, thanks, at the moment, Josh.
No, fine at the moment, Josh.
Okay, great stuff. Thanks, Julia. You're fine. All right, so the other Josh is also fine. And Wayne, what about yourself? Have you got any questions for us? Okay. And Anthony, you're on text, so if you give us an indication, do you have any questions for us at this time? All right, all goof. All right, well, there's a word, of course, goof. It means swimming in South African. So yeah, there we go. So I hope you guys have made a note of that. There's your Afrikaans lesson for the night. If you go goofing, it means that you're going to swim. Oh, you did know that. Aren't you from South Africa as well? All right, so what I'll do is I'll stop the recording for now. And there we've